Oh snap, retro crap. Growing up without Wi-Fi or internet, there wasn't much to do around the house, so we had to get creative. That was until the Game Boy Advance stepped into my life and changed everything. Now today we're going to be talking about whether or not you should give the Game Boy Advance a second chance. If it isn't obvious already, I'm a huge Nintendo handheld fan, and I've been collecting for it for many years now. Here's some of my collection. So here's my actual Game Boy Advance collection. Now obviously this one looks way different from the others because that's the first model Game Boy. It was released back in March of 2001 and is way different from the others in the fact that it still took batteries, you had a headphone jack, and the screen was not backlit, meaning it was very, very dull and dark. I'm gonna give you an example of that right now. It's very hard to film because that's max brightness. This Game Boy is annoying to play even in a well-lit room. Now, there's tons of modifications you can do. You can buy an aftermarket screen that has IPS, which looks absolutely beautiful, but that's gonna run you a ton of money. Now, to be exact, the screen mod would cost you about $60 if you do it yourself, and then another $60 average is what one of these Game Boys goes for in decent condition. So you're looking at $120 right off the bat. Now if you get somebody else to do it for you pre-installed, it runs about $150, $160, so that's a chunk of change. Now these are Game Boy Advance SPs, which came out February 14th of 2003. This Game Boy is the one I grew up with, and it is now 18 years old, and that blows my mind. This Game Boy is old enough to move out of the house, go to college, and even find a wife, and it's hard for me to process that. The biggest difference between the first model and the second model Game Boy Advance is obviously the fact that it now opened and closed, which is nice for carrying around, traveling, and not getting your screen scratched while you travel was also nice. And it's super snappy, hear that? Now, the second most dramatic change was the fact that we now have a backlit screen, which on this model was still very dull, but it was good enough to play in the dark, and that's what I grew up with. Now, on this first model, they actually sold aftermarket little lights, which are horrible. I couldn't imagine ever owning this. Check this out. It plugs in like so. Turn our Game Boy on, and yeah, you get this itty bitty little diode light that's not gonna light up a thing. That's ridiculous. Another massive change was the fact that this Game Boy now included a chargeable battery, which was awesome because you didn't have to go to the store every 2 days to get batteries just to burn them up real quick while gaming all night. Now, one con to this Game Boy was the fact that they removed the headphone jack, which for me wasn't a big deal, but a lot of people got mad over this. I actually don't mind not having it, and you can buy an aftermarket one that plugs in, so it wasn't that big a deal. Now, a lot of people complained that the Game Boy screen still wasn't bright enough. So by the end of the Game Boy Advance SP's lifetime, they released a final edition, and that was the Game Boy Advance model AGS 101, and it's this one. As you can see, it has the nicest of the screens here. I mean, there's a night and day difference between these two. So, quick recap. Here are the screen brightnesses for the three consoles. These are the original screens. I've never tampered with them. Wow, yeah, they definitely improved, but it's going to cost you a lot if you're collecting for them. This one will run you anywhere from 60 and up, the way it is. That one will run you anywhere from $65, $70, $80 and up, the way it is. And this one is 80 plus, which is ridiculous. I can't believe people are making that much money off of Game Boys. Every single one you see here, I bought for less than $20 at garage sales growing up just because I love the Game Boy so much. So I'm glad I did, or I wouldn't have so many. Now I'm actually missing one Game Boy Advance, and that's the Game Boy Advance Micro, which they released at the very end of the Game Boy's life. And honestly, I've never even held one. They got so expensive. They're really rare because they didn't run them for so long. At that point, the DS was coming out. So a Micro Game Boy Advance runs you almost 150 and up, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'll probably never own one unless I get very lucky and find one out in the wild at a garage sale or something. But it's been so long now, and I doubt that I'll ever get one. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I actually don't recommend you get one of these. The reason being is the fact that they're just so expensive now. There's plenty of other ways to play Game Boy games at lower prices. The only reason I recommend that you give this series a second chance is if you got money to blow and are a collector. If you're just trying to enjoy good games, there's plenty of ways to emulate or other products that'll play Game Boy games that I would recommend. Now, one cheap option that's better than all of this here is a DS Lite. The DS Lite has a very nice screen, very nice speakers, and it'll play Game Boy Advance games, which in my opinion makes it the best Game Boy, even though it's not, it's a DS. It'll also play DS games, which the library is endless. So this will run you anywhere from $35, $45, $50, which is cheaper than all of them here. And like I said, it has all these pros. Here's what the Game Boy Advance games look like on the DS. I mean, look at that. It's just as bright as the AGS 101. The speakers are great. Everything feels good about it. All the buttons feel the same. I mean, why wouldn't you buy this? Let's say you want to play Game Boy games but are having trouble collecting some of these. I do recommend another product if you're just a casual gamer trying to enjoy games. This is the Retroid Pocket 2. It's an Android device that'll emulate anything from original NES games all the way up to Nintendo 64 games, which blows my mind. That means you can download Genesis games, you can download Super Nintendo games, you can get anything in between, and Game Boy games. It'll even play DS games, for crying out loud. As I mentioned, it runs Android, and this is what it looks like. I am going to go to my Game Boy app and open up Donkey Kong Country. By the way, you download the ROMs from your PC for free, so you save a lot of money. This console runs anywhere from $70 to $90 depending where you go. I'll leave a link to their official website down below. So I've got Donkey Kong Country loaded up, and look at that, it's absolutely gorgeous. For comparison, I have a physical copy of Donkey Kong Country, and we're gonna put them side by side to check it out. And no, I'm gonna do this on my best Game Boy, if it'll work. So I tried over and over again, and I think my game is just too dirty. So this leads me to another point. The emulated version is more reliable. You don't have to deal with stuff like this because you downloaded it off the internet, you know? So here we go. Oh, it was filthy. I didn't realize that. Ah. Now, after blowing and cleaning for a while, I finally got it to work. And once again, here is the Retroid Pocket 2, and here is the Game Boy AGS 101. Now, right off the bat, the Game Boy colors look a little bit nicer. This looks a little bit more washed out, but once again, if you're just trying to play the games and play them fine, I highly recommend this product. You don't have to buy a whole Game Boy and then hunt the games down. You can just download them straight from the internet. And it plays fantastically. I mean, I've already beat this game once. Now, here's the DS next to the Retroid Pocket 2. Once again, this washes out the colors just a little bit, and this looks really crispy. If you want to learn more about the Retroid Pocket 2, I highly suggest you go over to Spin Retro's YouTube channel. I'll throw it in the link down below. I learned everything I know about mine from him, and that's gonna wrap this video up, guys. As I was saying right before I had that little brain fart, that'll be the end of this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, let me know how I'm doing. I'm trying to make videos weekly, and yeah, I appreciate you for watching. Not you, but you know what I mean. Deuces.